Leo, as the sign ruled by the sun, you know how to shine. And the cosmic conditions of 2026's astrology is giving you the full planetary permission slip to shine brightly, to create authentically, to be seen visibly. Jupiter, the planet of auspicious blessings, is moving into Leo from June 29th onward. And Jupiter is the planet of luck. So there could be many events this year that have you in the right place at the right time, or having the right eyeballs on you at the right time. With Jupiter entering Leo, some of you could be really embodying your full power, your full vitality, your full creativity. You could be putting yourself out there. Here I am, world. You could be debuting. You could be launching. Some of you may have travel opportunities within the year ahead, educational opportunities, really just a cosmic cue to grow, to expand, to evolve, to step into all that you are and the star power that you have always had. And perhaps excavating and uncovering what has been dimming your light, dimming your glow. For the past year or so, you've had Jupiter in the 12th house. So some of you have had a little bit of a confusing period of time and a lot of focus around ending and releasing and potentially solitude. And now the tides are turning and there's an energy where you want to participate in life again. You want to be seen. You want to potentially put out into the world what it is that you've been working on in secret. But there's an interesting story around both gain and release, because Jupiter is not the only celestial body that is in your sign this year. South Node also moves into Leo, which means you're a bit of a main character for the eclipses moving forward. And South Node is a lot around shedding. And so some of you are releasing who you thought you had to be in order to embrace who you were the entire time. Some of you are releasing whatever made you feel like you had to dim your light in order to make other people more comfortable in order to fully own who it is that you are and how it is that you shine. Some of you are connecting to a new side of yourself. These travels, these trips, these retreats, these classes are making you feel very connected to your overall truth, and you're letting go of past outdated versions of viewing yourself, your self-concept. Leo, this is a major year for you. And it does require you to be open to growth, open to expansion, open to connecting to all that you know that you are, as well as the potent, powerful sides of yourself that you have yet to meet. We have so much to discuss within your yearly horoscope. And don't you fret, Lions. We will be discussing every part of it, what it is that you need to know about this year ahead. I've structured my horoscopes a bit differently this year. I want you to feel like you are watching a trailer of the film of your next year. And so we will be breaking this video into various acts. Act 1 is setting the scene, the energy that you're bringing with you into this year. We'll take it into the plot twist, the aspects of this year that may catch you by surprise. We will talk about how it is that you are evolving and growing as a protagonist in your own story and as a main character in the astrology altogether. Really, this is a major year for the Leos. And then Act 4, we'll talk about the other planetary transits, and then we'll pull it all together with Act 5, the final scene. So as we take you through the movie of your year, I want to highlight this will be the most relevant and applicable if you are a Leo rising, a Leo ascendant, or if you are a Leo sun. Your rising within this video or any other video in the 12 Days of Cosmos here on my channel will always be the most accurate because that is indicative of your actual houses. As a supplemental theme, I would also encourage you to listen to your sun sign. We do that not because it's indicative of your actual houses, that's always set by your rising, but because we utilize solar houses in that technique, which is when we pull the sun into the first house and set up the houses accordingly. And that will only relate if you have your sun sign in a different sign as your rising. I would just encourage you to listen to both, but put most emphasis on your rising. I want to highlight that while this video will equip you in understanding the big picture astrology of your year, I have an offering called Magic 2026 where I take you into the nitty-gritty of each month. So where each and every retrograde will impact your chart. What months are more favorable for launches, for debuting? What months are more supportive for rest, for restoration, for prioritizing community? Week breakdown every single month, the opportunities and challenges in each, as well as co-creative affirmations that I have written from my heart to yours for you to continue to align with this powerful astrology. We are also doing a Capricorn new moon circle in January, and that is an opportunity to get your chart read, your personal transits read within a supportive small group of individuals. And within that space, we will all be setting our intentions for the Capricorn new moon. All of the classes are around the auspicious window of time, so that you are setting intentions in arenas of where the cosmos is already cheerleading you to go in. So you can check out both of those offerings below. And in case this is your first time stopping by my cosmic corner of the internet, I want to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Haley Comet. I'm a co-creative astrologer. I specialize in utilizing astrology as a tool to understand these themes and transits and to take advantage of these themes in transits. I will always be honest with you, both within this video as well as any other content on my channel. I do all signs forecasts for the major transits. I do a weekly horoscope series and podcast called Magic Monday, where I take you through the astrology of every week. I'm always straight up with you. There are certain challenging transits to be wary of, but I strive to really empower you as a cosmic co-creator to meet this astrology halfway, to learn from some of the challenging transits, to take advantage of some of the auspicious transits, which you have quite a few coming your way, Leo. So I'm so thankful that you're here. But if that sort of ethos aligns with you, I would so deeply appreciate a subscription. And if this video supports you in illuminating this year ahead, I would so appreciate any bit of engagement that you could give, whether that is a like, a comment, sharing to another Leo within your life. It is so deeply appreciated. And without further ado, the lights are dimming, the audience is quieting, and it is ready for the movie of Leo 2026. Act 1, setting the scene. Let's talk about where your story begins and where it is that you are as the main character of your world as we enter 2026. I want to illuminate deeper Jupiter's impact through your 12th house. I alluded to it within the intro, but with Jupiter in Cancer, a lot of you have been on a bit of a journey around closing out cycles, completing cycles. Jupiter has a 12-year revolution, so for some individuals, there could be an energy around really taking stock of the past 12 years and really shedding whatever it is that you are not wanting to take with you. You know, something that I love about astrology is that it's energetic, it's vibrational. So even if you were not aware of Jupiter transiting your 12th house, a lot of times we just naturally feel inclined to take a review, to release things, to let go, because energetically we can feel that we're on a precipice of a brand new beginning, or really an inflection point is what I want to say for you. We'll get into why I say that momentarily. But with Jupiter in the 12th house, there tends to be a lot of energy around release. Sometimes we are spending more time in solitude. Sometimes we are battling our demons. Sometimes we are going to therapy. Sometimes we are really trying to unpack our subconscious, what is happening beneath the surface. A lot of you could have gotten much more into your spiritual gifts, your intuitive gifts. Even with some of the 8th house energy that you've been navigating, understanding the intuitive, clairvoyant gifts you could have inherited ancestrally. Some of you could have gotten into your mediumship bag. Some of you could have really gotten clear around certain things that you did in order to numb the pain or to cope or to regulate your emotions that was not serving you. You know, 12th house is the house of self-undoing. And in order to become all that we were meant to be, which is an energy I do see for you in the latter portion of this year, we need to detangle from what is actively siphoning or depleting our energy. A lot of you could have found late 2025 as this transit began and bringing into 2026, you are a bit more sensitive. You know, maybe you used to be able to recuperate and bounce back after spending a lot of time with individuals. Your social battery never ran out, but because of your enhanced sensitivity at this time, your increased intuition at this time, there tends to be more of a need to recuperate and to withdraw in order to restore your energy. There could have been an illumination around certain themes around mothering, how it is that you were mothered, how it is that you were nurtured, potentially like remothering yourself, or contemplating spiritually the role that you have as a mother, as a nurturer in some regard. And some of you could have even found, or it's an energy that you may experience at the beginning portion of this year, a desire to really free your psyche from any parts that a mother figure or maternal energy grabbed hold of. Or if you are a mother, a nurturer, caretaker in some way, the ways in which your subconscious mind has latched onto it in less than helpful ways around, now that you're a mother, you can't do this, or you can't pursue this, or you can't try this, or travel here, or something like this. Some of you could even be reaching a certain point, whether your children are going off to college or they're moving into a new season of their life, and it's affording you the space that we were talking about with Jupiter in your sign later this year around, now I have the space to travel and adventure and try new things, but there's also a grieving in that around this chapter's closing of their teenagehood, they're becoming adults. That obviously will not relate to everyone, but that could just be one storyline of this. And there also is an intuitive awareness, again, astrology is vibrational, around knowing that this new beginning is on the horizon and really questioning what you want to take with you. And sometimes we make that decision, sometimes life makes that decision, but there could have been an energy around certain endings that came up, certain friendships, opportunities, career paths that you are not meant to take with you into this next cycle of growth. A lot of times when I think of Jupiter dancing from the 12th house to the first house, it's a bit like coming inward in order to expand outward. And with Jupiter in the 12th house, sometimes we are in a bit of a hermit era. Sometimes there's certain confusing endings around like, really, Spirit? I don't understand why that had to be taken from me or why that was not aligned. But your life by the end of this year will be testament to just how much these things that are being taken were depleting and draining your energy. I always say you can tell everything about a person, a place, an opportunity by how it is that you feel after it departs. Of course, there's going to be grief around the letting go, but if you ever let something go and then all of a sudden you're glowing up, your money's glowing up, your life is doing better, it's like, whoa, you were not a connection, you were a leech, or whoa, that was not just a job, that was an energy suck. So it's important to trust in the endings that are transpiring, even if at the beginning of the year, there just could be an energy around certain things that you are having to let go of, certain reflections within your own heart, within your own soul that you are making at this time. And like I highlighted, when our intuition is growing, we do get more sensitive. So it's important to really honor your own cycles and rhythms at this time. If there's an energy where you're not wanting to put yourself out there as much, you're not wanting to be seen as much, or that even has fear within. Again, we'll talk about it because I do feel like there are certain themes around letting go of fears of being visible or what have you. And so it's not judging yourself if you do find you start this year and you're a little bit still in that space. You're really nurturing your own solitude. You are closing out and clearing out old cycles. You're really questioning the inner reservoirs of your subconscious mind. Why am I this way? Some of you could have been in therapy, EMDR, like doing a lot of work on yourself that was not visible to the outside world. Some of you could have even been working on a project that's been very behind the scenes, very hush hush, and like a need to not tell everybody your business. At this time, 12th house is hidden enemies. So a lot of times with Jupiter in the 12th house, there's just individuals in the woodwork. And because you're more intuitive at this time, you may have been able to really clock it when you saw it around, okay, this person from my past has been lurking on my page and this person keeps pulling on my energy. And even just like an intuitive awareness around like, you are a secret hater. And it's important to trust your intuition. I'm not saying to be paranoid about this. I'm just saying it would behoove you at this time to keep a little bit of your plans to yourself. Evil eye can be a thing. And with Jupiter in the 12th house, if you're feeling inclined where you don't want to share something just yet, honor that. There could be an energy where towards the end of the year, with Jupiter stepping into your first house, you're more inclined around announcements and debuting and participating out in the world. With Jupiter in 12th house, it can be a busy time, but it's more inward. It's more reflective. It's more introspective. It's more psychological. And so that is an energy that you are bringing with you into the beginning portion of this year. I also want to highlight that many of you have been in the midst of this Pluto evolution, Pluto transformation. Now, Pluto is a very slow moving planet. So it's not that every year from now until 2044, you're going to be dealing with constant deaths and rebirths coming from Pluto being in your opposite sign, Aquarius. But I will highlight there is an undercurrent of transformative energy around how it is that you relate and partner with others. You could have found an energy that you're stepping with you into this year is being very intentional of who you are sharing your energy with. Perhaps some of you have been through experiences where someone was incredibly controlling, destructive, or very obsessive in some regard. And that might be why you are protecting your energy a little bit more, like with Jupiter in the 12th house around, I just need to be on my own. I need to nourish my own solitude because I recognize what people can do if they get their claw marks into me. And I'm not saying that sort of energy is going to continue onward. There just could be an energy where you are really wanting to close out or clear out psychological hooks from past connections. Like I said, Jupiter in the 12th house is around endings and releasing. So taking any sort of lesson as well as just observing what within my own psychology or my own subconscious processes or how it is that I was nurtured, my past, the Cancerian energies, like what contributed to me being within this dynamic? What was I seeking to gain from it? And I don't say that in a way of blaming yourself for what other people have done. That's not it at all. But especially if you're in the process of extricating yourself from a relationship that was very draining and depleting, it's really taking all of the wisdom and the lessons necessary for you to be mindful about individuals moving forward or connections moving forward or people's motives moving forward. There can be a story like this. Sometimes Pluto energy can be a little bit of a paranoid influence, so there can be a little bit of a armor that you are wearing around. I recognize how my power can feel diminished by who it is that I partner with. And that's why I'm being protective of my energy with Jupiter in the 12th house. I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to say yes because I'm still in an energy of potentially healing for some of you. That will not be for all. I want to highlight that this Pluto energy will be the most alive and felt for you in the year 2026. If you have Leo placements between 2 to 4 degrees, that means you will experience a Pluto opposition this year. And sometimes that can be, power struggles with individuals, people who want to control you, who want to tell you what to do. Now, this could also be transformative bond sort of energy, evolving past what you have felt like relationships are or what they should be or what you've conditioned to feel like they are. Like Pluto energy is very psychological. So a lot of you could be doing a lot of really deep work around intimacy, around being very honest with who it is that you connect to, around wanting to grow with your partner, like evolve with your partner. Yes, sometimes Pluto energy can be a wrecking ball in terms of relationships, especially if they're not meant for us. Again, we'll get into it. There definitely is going to be a focus on that moving forward. But Pluto energy can also be around, okay, let's evolve together, let's grow together. And it requires us facing what is under the surface. But if you and your partner are open to that, it can be a time of evolution. I would also say with Pluto energy, really being mindful of all sorts of relationships within your life, as this is in your opposite sign, thus your 7th house and actual houses or solar houses. Yes, this can be your marriage partner. Yes, this can be your business partner. Yes, this can be one-to-one contacts overall. But it also is just how it is that you relate to others. And interestingly, 7th house is open enemies. 12th house, secret enemies. 7th house is open enemies. And it's not that you need to be paranoid that your haters are lurking this year, Leo. All I'm saying is that when you shine, there's going to be shade. Okay. It just is what it is. The bugs are attracted to the light. Like there might be an energy around you recognizing that haters are going to hate, and that has really nothing to do with you. And you and your work is to shine regardless of that, because Pluto energy can really go either way in terms of extremes. Sometimes our biggest fan can turn into our biggest enemy. Sometimes someone who cheerleads us and hypes us up really is just trying to take our spot. Again, I'm not saying this to feed into any sort of paranoia around other people, but there's just an energy where you could find people are very obsessed with you this year around, being really, really drawn into your orbit, and potentially individuals who have a lot to say a lot to say about the new ways that you are evolving, the new ways that you are growing. And your encouragement this year is to not let that hold you back. And sometimes our biggest hater is the person that we're in a relationship with, and Pluto energy can just really make it clear whether the person that you are with is amplifying your power or draining it. Really pay attention to that when you connect with others. Pluto energy can indicate transformative bonds and really evolving with how it is that you relate to others and partner with others. But it also brings a power dynamic. So it's really recognizing, as I step into my power, who's able to meet me there? Who's able to really connect with me in this evolved version of self? And if I'm partnered with people in any context who like it when I'm smaller, who like it when I revolve around them, as though I'm not the sun of my own solar system, there could be valuable data that comes up about that, around, can we evolve together? Can you see me as I embody and embrace my fullest power? Do you like it when I'm small? Do you like it when I'm worshiping at the altar of you? Do you like it when my life is revolving around you? Can you handle me within my fullest and within my authenticity? I do feel like a lot of you are really stepping into your higher self. And sometimes we are in a certain partnership, we're in a certain connection that is attached to a prior version of self. And sometimes we feel that energy of feeling like we have to shrink into a past version of ourselves. And so some of you could just find, I've got to evolve, and potentially evolving beyond fears of being alone. Sometimes we do fear our own power. So we stay within relationships that are more so connected to a past version of ourselves because we also fear what it would look like to fully embrace all that we are. And so when it comes to Pluto in the 7th house, people might have a more intense reaction to you around getting super obsessed with you or having a lot to say about you. And the encouragement for you is to shine regardless if they love you, regardless if they hate you. Your job is to be you. And I'm also seeing a lot of you are doing a lot of work around letting go of the need to be liked or to be applauded or to be validated by other people, just with South-Node in the 1st house, which we'll get into. Like with Pluto in the 7th, you could just recognize, like, I tried to perform and be what other people wanted me to be, and it still was not enough. So F it, I'm just gonna be me. And some of you could even be psychologically working through any sort of fear around being alone. And Pluto energy can be a bit of a wake-up call around individuals and human nature and motives and psyche. And the ask with Pluto energy is to not make us jaded within that. Sometimes we have a very toxic relationship, or we have a fallout with a business partner that creates a huge lawsuit or a really messy divorce. Like sometimes when we have these experiences, we just feel so jaded by human nature altogether. But you're a Leo. Leo governs the heart space. Like you are here to love big and shine bright and be you. So it's not saying that you need to shut out everybody and be on guard and paranoid about everybody, but the Pluto energy could have really just awakened a need to be very discerning about your energy and very intentional about your sunshine around who gets to warm themselves with it, because some of you could just find, wow, you're really out here siphoning my sunshine, and you do have to be protective of your sunshine, of your glow, of your energy, which I feel is a journey that a lot of you have been on. Act 2, the plot twist. What may catch you by surprise this year? You may catch yourself by surprise this year, and the new sides of yourself that you are stepping into, the new experiences that you are a yes to. There can be a plot twist around relationships, just really unveiling individuals' true colors around, I thought this person was my biggest fan, but they were really plotting on my downfall. There could be a plot twist related to really destined, fated connections that come into your orbit this year. We'll get into that in Act 3. But I want to just illuminate in terms of energy that may take you by surprise this year. Uranus is wrapping up its journey in Taurus, which for you has been in your 10th house since 2018. And a lot of you have really had a lot of instability as it relates to work. You could have had like major ups and downs around having a huge month in your business and then it subsides the next month, or you get this job and you're so excited about it and then the industry changes. Like there just could have been ups, downs. You could even look back at the past 8 years and be like, wow, I have some lore. I forgot I worked there. I forgot I did that. Like there could have just been certain ups and downs. Now, these could have been electrifying. These could have been exciting. There could have been an energy around going into an industry that was very avant-garde, that's unconventional, that other people are not doing. You also could have been the blueprint, so to speak, like a bit of a trendsetter energy. You could have set trends without even meaning to. You could have been on your own wavelength and now people are catching up. Like there's an energy around, oh, you thought I was weird for doing this and now it's really popular. Or I was the sole outlier within my business who was doing things this way and now I look around and I'm like, that looks pretty familiar. There could have been energy like this. And with Uranus leaving your 10th house from April onward, and this has been a journey you've been on, but I want to highlight, you may experience the most plot twists or shakeups or shockwaves around career if you have Leo placements between 27 to 29 degrees. That means you have one final electrifying Uranus square before it wraps up from April onward. And there can be an energy around debuting yourself in different ways or doing something different, or maybe even shocking people around, why are you stopping doing this? You're so good at this. Everybody loves you. Everybody loves this. And it's just an energy around, it's not me. And Uranus energy really tends to bring to the surface this need to be fully authentic. Now, sometimes the plot twist is sprung on us where there are certain shockwaves around career. Something unexpected happens and it does require us to be a bit flexible. You know, if you utilize some sort of technology for your business, you may change the technology that you're utilizing, like the current technology, their guidelines change or something happens where you have to pivot, or maybe you've built your business on a certain platform and something happens, the monetization shifts and now you got to shift. Like it's just important to stay very flexible and be open to pivots, as well as, you know, if there is something that happens around your career path, or as well as if there is something that happens with a boss, with a career path, there can be an ask to pivot. And again, I do see blessings coming in for you, but sometimes with Uranus energy, there is some sort of major change with our career, with a boss, with an authority figure, with our reputation altogether. And it's really important if that does happen to pivot wherever possible, just knowing that Jupiter is on the way for you. So if there is something that does not feel true to you, if there is something that is changed within your career, even if you're still wondering why that had to happen that way, it's important to trust in what the cosmos is cooking up for you. And in the plot twist, that can be moving the plot in the direction that you really want it to go in, truly. Like you've got eclipses in your sign this year. And when it comes to eclipses, this is fate, this is destiny. And sometimes we experience certain timeline disruptions where it's like you're on a timeline as it relates to your career, as it relates to your business. And sometimes something happens that disrupts it, which at the moment can be very destabilizing, very like, what? But it's important to trust that this could be setting you up for something that's even more aligned. Act 3, character development. How it is that you are evolving this year, told by the story of your ruling planet. In your case, the star, the sun. And the sun is very consistent. That's why Leos are so loyal. You know, they're fixed fire. They're very consistent with what and who they love. And I say sun is consistent because it's always moving at the same speed. It always enters the same signs at around the same time. It doesn't move retrograde or anything like that. It's very consistent. So it doesn't really tell us a whole lot when we look at 2026 to look at the sun in terms of its ingresses through the various signs. But what I want to talk about here is the eclipses, because really when we talk about eclipses, we're talking about the sun, the moon, and the nodes and how those all get together. So because you're ruled by the sun, you are more influenced by eclipses, and we're doubling down on that this year, because not only being solar ruled, you're more influenced by eclipses in general. Adding to that, you also are the main character of the eclipses moving forward with South Node entering your sign. So it's a double whammy. So understanding the eclipse story this year can help us understand the shifts and changes that you personally are making as the protagonist in your journey. I want to begin with a story that we are wrapping up this year. So North Node has been in Pisces, South Node has been in Virgo. And this indicates that most of the eclipses since late 2024 have been located in your 8th house and your 2nd house. And that story is brought into this year with the lunar eclipse in Virgo in March and the lunar eclipse in Pisces in August. Let's start with the lunar eclipse in March. So this is illuminating the South Node. So South Node has been in Virgo, which is around shedding and releasing perfectionism or control, or even your money that you bring in being very connected to your physical effort. Some of you could have even been clearing out any sort of stories that you need to work super hard or burn yourself out in order to earn income. There could have been an energy where you were open to other streams of support finding you, whether that's commission, whether that's passive income, partnering with certain individuals. And sometimes we make that decision around, okay, this is not scalable. Like I need to focus my energy to things that are scalable, where it's not so tied to my physical effort, which is limited, and my time, which is limited. Sometimes these sort of things are sprung on us where we lose a certain income stream or something that we've always done. Some of you could even have gone through a value shift throughout this time. And again, illuminated by that lunar eclipse in Virgo around, this is what I used to value, but now because of the spiritual path that I am on, I'm valuing different things. Maybe before I really valued security and stability as it relates to my income, and now I really want to leave my legacy, have my soulful impact with the energy of North Node Pisces in the 8th house. So we get an illumination of that story at the end of August. And what it is that you've been nudging to grow into is really around what really means something to me. What do I want my legacy to be? That's what 8th house is. Sometimes there are themes around transformation. Sometimes there are themes around grief and letting go. And with Pisces energy here, a lot of you could have gotten more into connecting with your ancestors. You could have really awakened to a call to do something so much bigger than what is tangible, what is physical, which may have led to certain decreases as it relates to your income, but with North Node 8th house wanting to really prioritize what soothes your soul. Now, these are money houses, and it's not to say it's always necessarily a loss of money. Like 2nd house is money that we make via clock in, clock out. It's money that we make that's like my money. Whereas 8th house is our money. So you could have found that you partnered, you had some sort of merger, you started taking in investments, you launched a Patreon, like something where people could support you, where it's less so around this is literally tied to my effort and more so where it's a little bit of a gamble. People might join the Patreon, they might not. My partner might make a lot of money in commission, they might not. I might flip this home and it makes a ton of money, or no, it's like a little bit more of a gamble energy, but that could have been where you experience gain. Or even for some of you, not all, there could have been energy of inheritances, payouts, alimony, child support, just money that comes to you from other people is really the energy of the 8th house. And some of it could have felt very divine with Pisces here. Some of you could have had a focus around loans, debt, taxes, other 8th house themes, as well as potentially contemplating end-of-life plans. For some, there could have been a nudge around that. So that journey is beginning to come to a close this year. We have one more eclipse in this axis next year, but we have a new story that is entering the chat. And these are the eclipses that I really want to put on your radar because these are very impactful for you. So the first is the solar eclipse in Aquarius that is in February. This eclipse lands at 28 degrees. So it is even more impactful if you have Leo placements between, we'll say, 29 to 23 degrees Leo. This solar eclipse is opposing you. And the nodes are now shifting from the focus being around merged resources and legacy and connecting something bigger than ourselves and letting go of outdated value systems, letting go of income streams that could have been very draining or being of service purely to make money and wanting to open ourselves up to really our legacy, our soul calling. Now the nodes are shifting to North Node being in the 7th house, South Node being in the 1st house. And this eclipse in February illuminates the solar eclipse in the 7th house. You are going to connect with soulmates this year, and soulmates come in so many different formats and sometimes unusual formats. You also have Uranus entering your 11th house, which we'll talk about shortly, but Soulmates are coming into your orbit, and it's so important to know, I'm a Virgo rising, so I'm in the midst of the transit that you are going to experience. And for me, this transit just illuminated all of the different soulmates that have come into my orbit, and the recognition that it does not necessarily need to be romantic. Now, could some of you be taking the next step within a relationship? Could some of you be meeting someone significant? Could some of you be letting go of someone who's, Mr. Right Now to step into Mr. Forevsies? Like, that may be a story for some, certainly, but for a lot of you, it's linking up with soulmate clients. It's linking up with soulmate business partners. It's even linking up with soulmate enemies. It's said that even if we are beefing with someone or someone's our enemy in this lifetime, a lot of times our souls are like high-fiving on the other side, because we learn a lot from the individuals who we have more challenging relationships with. We learn a lot from our enemies. There could be a lot that we discover around ourselves, and sometimes it helps us step into our most powerful version. It's said that oftentimes our competitors can push us to dig deeper and to push more. The success of an athlete, oftentimes a fuel for that is their competitors, because there's something around that process of competition that helps us really unearth our fullest potential, actualize our fullest potential. And again, I'm not saying you have to go out and start beefing with someone, but what I am saying is that it's also seeing the spiritual lessons that could be coming in even from relationships that are a little bit more tense around, I have this really challenging relationship with this person, but like to a soul level, your soul could be like, yeah, but you're learning patience, you're learning compassion, you're learning boundaries. We learn a lot from difficult relationships. And so with North Node, it's just knowing that a lot of people can be coming into your orbit that you are meant to link up with, you're meant to meet, especially around this eclipse. Pay attention to who departs your life, pay attention to who comes in. Because eclipses are fated. They're part of a bigger story. It's us clicking into timelines that we are meant to be on and disrupting out of timelines that have outlived their purpose. And so some of you could be really linking up with individuals who you were meant to meet, meant to interact with, and who's to say what the purpose of that will be. We'll see in due time. But there can be an energy around really linking with people where you're like, do I know you from somewhere? Have I met you before? Have I seen you in my dreams? You could have very potent, powerful connections this year where you just feel like there's something different about it. There's something significant about it. And it's important to really stay open to what that can be. Yes, that energy really enlivens around this eclipse and any future eclipses in Aquarius that we will continue to experience moving in 2027 and beyond. But also just from August onward this year, North Node is expanding this sector. So really looking at the people who are coming into your orbit, coming into your life, and really questioning, what am I here to learn from them? And really contemplating how people can be catalysts, they can be timeline disruptions in and of themselves. And so yes, Pluto in the 7th house in actual houses and solar houses is asking you to be a bit more discerning or potentially on guard with who you share your energy with. But it's important not to be closed-hearted. You're a Leo after all. You're here to have an open heart. And with the energy of North Node, you could really meet, partner with, and align with souls who really revolutionize and shift your journey forward. So it's important to stay open to that. And the next eclipse in this axis is the solar eclipse in Leo. This lands in August, and this is in your 1st house. And so both of these eclipses are solar eclipses, which is new beginning, new start. This is a new start around self. And again, it's such an interesting dance because Jupiter is growth and expansion, but with South Node also in the sector, in order to grow into all that you are here to be, you have to release what you are not. You have to release the mask that you have constructed for other people. You have to release the addiction to approval or validation from others. So there could be an energy around releasing outdated versions of self and even trying on different versions of self. As I highlighted, I'm currently in this eclipse axis, so I can speak to you not just from my astrology education, but also from my life. And there are moments of having South Node in the 1st house where you're like, who am I? Like, what is even going on? And there is a moment of sometimes panic within that around things that we always felt were consistently true for us, suddenly shifting. But what I want to say is that it's exciting to step into new sides of yourself. It's exciting to release who you felt like you had to be in order to embrace all that you are. It's exciting to release any feeling around having to do things on your own. Some of you could really link up with a soulmate. You could really be half of a power couple. You could really partner with someone in very powerful ways. And there is an energy of release of control in that. When we partner with anyone, when we trust anyone, we do release a bit of control, and we release an energy around, I need to be able to do it on my own in order to partner with others. This was a transit in which I started to be more open in help from others. With South Node first house, if you are someone who also, like me, was like, I could do it on my own. It's like, yes, just because you can doesn't mean that you need to. And there also could be themes around letting go of ego, letting go of pride. Sometimes we don't open up to others or don't accept help or partner with other individuals because of pride. And this could be an energy around letting that go, recognizing where ego and pride has been holding you back. Even where ego and pride has been holding you back around putting yourself out there, putting your art out there. There could be an energy around releasing where that has been holding you back in order to partner with others, show up for others. Because Aquarius is a very humanitarian sign. And so a lot of you could really want to help people, and recognizing how your talents and abilities in leadership can help people genuinely, but also recognizing that you have to get out of your own way. It's not about you. It's bigger than you, and you are a conduit. You are a channel for it. And so it's just recognizing around, I feel uncomfortable being seen because I feel like I'm going to be judged, but it's like, if this could help one person, why would I get in my own way? Why would I hold myself back? There can also be a story like that coming up with these eclipses. And these eclipses and this soul journey that you are on, again, we are getting a taste of it this year, and it will continue on 2027 and beyond. And so really, when we talk about North Node in Aquarius in your 7th house, South Node in Leo in your 1st house, and also Jupiter in your 1st house, it's important to know that as you step into new sides of yourself, as you embody your power, the individuals who you magnetize your way also shift. And so there can be sudden random people who come into your orbit, especially with Uranus and Gemini, which moves into your 11th house this year, trining Pluto. And so this could be really unusual individuals coming into your orbit who transform and electrify your journey onward. So it's knowing as you change, the individuals who are drawn to you and magnetized to you change as well. As you step into your power, you attract more powerful connections as well. Act 4, supporting characters. Let's talk about the other transits that you will experience this year and how it is that they will shape your plot. I want to take us back to Jupiter in the 1st house because this is a big deal, Jupiter entering your sign, and this is the case from June 29th onward. And while all Leos will feel the Jupiter and Leo energy, it will be the most strongly felt this year in 2026 if you have Leo placements between 0 to 27 degrees. So in addition to being more inclined to be visible, to be seen, to step into new growth opportunities, to put yourself out there, I also want to indicate this can reflect shifts with our physical vessel in many different ways. Jupiter energy and working so closely with it, it can make you more optimistic. It can make you more in a say yes sort of energy. And so sometimes you are more lax around certain restrictions that you have, like you could find because you're dating more, you're drinking more wine, or because you're traveling, you're enjoying more of the cuisine. Jupiter energy is around gain and growth. And so some of you could experience that as it relates to your physical vessel in some regard. I do see some sort of transformation as it relates to your body. Jupiter does not always indicate weight gain, especially since you have South Node there, but you could be showing up for your body in different ways or prioritizing your body in different ways and maybe working out more, wanting to feel your best, wanting to feel your most confident, and experiencing a transition there as well. I do want to highlight that Jupiter is your 5th house lord in whole sign house system, and 5th house is around children and it's around creativity. And so with this crossing the ascendant, some of you may be pregnant this year. There could be an energy around your body growing in that regard. And sometimes with South Node in the 1st house, it can indicate like not recognizing ourself or our body. So especially if you are conceiving for the very first time, there could be this energy around my body so different. It's going through changes, but also recognizing the very spiritual nature of being in that sort of process could also be alive, as South Node is very spiritual in and of itself. itself. And even if it's not your first time being pregnant, there just could be an energy around feeling disconnected with self or identity, around I've always been this, and now I feel myself growing in this other way, this other direction. Others of you, this could be more so of a metaphoric pregnancy around giving birth to a new era, giving birth to a new project. Some of you have been working on something in secret that you're going to share to the world, debut to the world. What I want to say is that first house is around self and identity, and Jupiter is around luck and opportunities. So it's important to shoot your shot in the latter portion of this year. It's important to put yourself out there. It's important to be visible. It's important to do the things that make you feel more connected to your own truth. You know, Jupiter energy is adventure energy. So some of you could be booking that trip. You could be enrolling in that class. Like there really is just an energy around wanting to stretch into new sides of yourself. You are going to find. Most certainly. And with expansion also comes restriction. So let's talk about Saturn's journey this year, because wherever Saturn is transiting can indicate a place of sometimes lack or scarcity, or at the very least, hard work. So we start the year with Saturn in Pisces, which is your 8th house. And this has been a journey that you've been on since 2023. We also start the year with Neptune in Pisces, also in your 8th house, which is a journey that has taken place since 2011. And so both of these planets were bringing up major themes around grief, around loss, around, for some of you, shadow work, trauma, the occult. Some of you could have had certain themes around merged resources and taxes and loans and debt. Saturn indicating pressure around these themes, and Neptune representing potentially deception around these themes. I will say, I feel like a lot of Leos are on a very spiritual journey, because 8th house brings up a lot around legacy, and Neptune's very spiritual. So like, what are we all here for? And there is something around grief and loss that really sharpens into focus what really matters within this experience. And so that also could have been an element of this journey. And in the beginning of this year, January for Neptune, February for Saturn, they will shift into Aries, which is your 9th house, which is a fellow fire sign. And when it comes to these planets working with you, 9th house is around higher learning. It's around foreign lands. It's around pursuing our own truth, our own search for meaning, and Saturn energy potentially wanting to find mastery within it. Some of you could enroll in college, academia. Some of you could really take a spiritual path of yours very seriously, really wanting to search and seek for answers that feel very you, like with this Aries energy. And Neptune also echoes that as well. You know, Saturn and Neptune definitely have their fair share of challenges, especially when they unite in February, which I will do all signs video on. But something I will say I like about this is that Saturn kind of keeps Neptune in check. Because with Neptune 9th house, sometimes our desire for truth and meaning can lead to a lack of boundaries. Sometimes we can meet mentors who we idolize and pedestalize and forget that they're just mere human beings. Like Saturn energy is making you more discerning around gurus. Like you're really wanting to learn from individuals who are very grounded in their teachings, and you're wanting to have experiences traveling. Yes, open up the soul, but also make sense to the material structure of your life with Saturn there. And so sometimes with Saturn in the 9th house, we want faith to be something that we live by. And that could be something that's important to you within this year around, yes, you've been on the spiritual journey, but with Saturn in the 9th house, really wanting to be devoted to it, having your rituals around spiritually connecting or learning astrology or writing your thesis, whatever meaning and truth you are seeking with the energy of 9th house. And I want to highlight that because this is in a fellow fire sign, a lot of you will experience a beneficial flow of energy from these planets by way of trine. And so these are two slow-moving transits, and so their influence tends to be a bit more subtle, but they're more pronounced if you do experience a Saturn transit or a Neptune transit. So starting with Saturn, if you have Leo placements between 0 to 14 degrees, you will experience a Saturn trine this year, which means you can find this is a year that you are more structured, more disciplined around really chiseling what has meaning for you, what your personal truth is, and wanting to debut it or share it out into the world, or allowing your life to be a testament of what it is that you believe in a very grounded, solid way. And if you have Leo placements between 0 to 4 degrees, you will experience a Neptune trine this year, which can indicate a very inspired year, channeling and downloading ideas as though they are drawn in directly from the divine. Could be an energy that you experience this year. You could be working more with cameras. You could be working more with film. Your style could be very otherworldly and magical. You could be partnering with mentors to make you feel very connected to something bigger than yourself and who inspire you to really draw out, to extract all of the magic that is within you for you to radiate it out to this planet. I also want to highlight, in addition to Saturn and Neptune, who are settling into your 9th house this year, there's another celestial body who spends some time here. Chiron dips in and out of your 9th house, and Chiron has been in Aries, thus your 9th house, since 2018. And this could have led to you going on quests, journeys for healing, whether that's physical healing, emotional healing, spiritual healing. And sometimes our quest, yes, is us going to a faraway land. Sometimes our quest is enrolling in an astrology course. There just could have been a focus around gathering wisdom for the purpose of physically, emotionally, spiritually, or psychologically healing. And with Chiron from June to September of this year moving into your 10th house, some of you may feel inclined to share certain healing modalities that you found with the public at large. You know, Chiron is not just reading the books and going to church or going to the institutions, wherever your 9th house journeys took you. It's not just understanding it or learning it, it's living it, is the energy of Chiron. So some of you may have had certain dark nights of the soul and learned certain things where it's like, this is what got me through. And you may feel a natural inclination around wanting to put it out into the world, wanting to share it with others, wanting to perhaps weave it in with your reputation. Because 10th house is around career. So some of you could really be stepping into a role as a healer and wanting to share what has been helpful for you and how it is that you've worked through certain worthiness wounds. That's really a story with Chiron and Taurus altogether. And for others of you, it could be a bit painful to be exposed at this point. You could feel like a bit of an exposed nerve around feeling the insecurity of past experiences. You know, yes, for some of you, maybe something embarrassing will happen in the public eye, but it's less so around just what happens, more so what it triggers and brings out around, this reminds me of being in middle school and everybody was talking badly about me or making fun of me for doing this or that. And it's important how it is that you grow through what is triggered, what is brought up. And Chiron energy will be the most potent this year if you have Leo placements at 0 degrees. That indicates you'll have a Chiron square. So yes, there can be certain triggers that come about by you putting yourself out there, by you being seen or within career altogether. But there's also an opportunity to learn from them, grow through them, really, with Jupiter entering your sign. And the final transit that I want to support you with is that when Uranus leaves your 10th house in April 2018, hopefully you will be finding a little bit more consistency or stability in relation to career. But Uranus is now moving into your 11th house, where it will transit until 2033. Uranus governs what's unpredictable. So there can be certain friendship flare-ups that you did not anticipate, or your friend just making certain decisions with their life that you would have never imagined them to make. And questioning with Jupiter, the planet of ethics in your sign, like, is this ethically aligned with me? Can I really be friends with someone like this or have someone like this in my circle? There can be certain ups and downs in that regard. If you are online, if you have a community, if you have an audience, there can be some ups and downs, some shakeups as it relates to the audience that you cultivate. But really, you could just have a very eclectic, unusual, exciting group of people around you. Again, this is a long transit, so it's not always in your face, but there is an invitation this year and beyond to be open to unusual new people coming into your orbit, to be inspired by brilliant minds that do something different than what it is that you do, and to really put yourself out there to network with different sorts of individuals. Oftentimes we can connect to new sides of ourselves as we partner and connect with new people as well. Leo, I for one am so excited to watch you shine and radiate and glow within this year ahead. And I hope that at the end of this year, you can look back and be so proud of yourself for putting yourself out there, for sharing your heart with this world, for allowing the world to see all of the magic that is within you. Because when we fully step into our power, we encourage other people to embody theirs. And with North Node in Aquarius, there is a nudge this year around really wanting to help people to band together with community to uplift. And with Jupiter and South Node in your sign, it does feel like you are utilizing your talents, your skill sets, your passions as a tool in order to do that, in order to embody your own greatness and inspire other people to arise to theirs. I am so excited to see all of the magic you create this year and all of the growth you evolve towards. You'll have to let me know below what you are looking forward to within the year ahead. Odds are most of you are thinking or typing Jupiter and Leo, which I can't blame you for. Exciting stuff. I want to remind you that I have 2 offerings if you're wanting to dive deeper into this astrology. The first is Magic 2026, which is a 2-hour plus video where I take you through month by month what every month is about, particularly for you as a Leo rising, Leo sun, the opportunities, the challenges, the themes that present themselves. It of course has timestamps, so you don't need to listen to all 2 hours plus in one go. You can listen to it as the months continue. You also are supported with a 40-page PDF that illuminates the major transits and the territories of your chart that these transits will activate. So you can check that out below. We're also having our Capricorn New Moon Circle in January if you want to get together with the supportive community, your unique chart, your placements, your degrees, what the cosmos have cooking up for you this year, and to set intentions around that. That will also be available below. If you like the vibes around here, I have a weekly podcast called Magic Monday where I take you through every single week of astrology and how it is that you can make it magical. Because it is my belief when we flow with the cosmos and flow with these energies rather than forcing against them, we live our lives with a lot more alignment, a lot more flow, a lot more magic. So you can check that out. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok at Haley Comet Astrology. I would love to connect with you over there. And until we meet again, stay magical.